Hello and welcome to day 14 of Life Support, 16 days activism against violence against women. Life Support is myself, Alice Smith and Tina Makeda, and we've set up a national network launching in 2020 for survivors of all sorts of abuse. And we're doing 16 days of videos, and today it is day 14. It's my turn, and I want to talk to you about forgiveness. So I want to talk to you about self-forgiveness, because forgiveness, I can't do it in 5 minutes. And maybe I'll do something on my 361 blog about forgiveness. But I want to talk about self-forgiveness. So if we get over the massive hurdle of forgiving people who've abused us, which can't be talked about in 5 minutes, it's not over. Well, recovery's never over, is it? But it's not over because we end up needing to forgive ourselves. So I'm talking to you as somebody, I don't think I've forgiven myself yet. And the different sorts of ways that we know this is that we have guilt. We have guilt over issues that our children might have from the abuse. We have guilt over losing our homes and our status. And I feel quite guilty, very guilty about having my house repossessed. So it's Christmas 2019 and it's all coming back to me, the fact that I had my house repossessed Christmas 2015. And along with that, as a concept, is all the things that you lose, the security, and your family lose security, and you lose status, and it's all loss really, and with a capital L. So yeah, I don't think I've forgiven myself for that yet, even though on paper it wasn't my fault. I don't think it's anything to do with fault. So I think as survivors, we need to look at forgiving ourselves. So to be able to do that, we've got to work backwards. We've got to be in a state where we're no longer victim, blaming someone else for ruining our lives, because I could still do that, because the facts are that this person did take these steps to the repossession. But I've gone past that now in my recovery to work out what was my payoff for staying in that house, for buying it in the first place. So we've got to ask ourselves, what's our payoff for staying? That's one of the first processes. It's very painful, and a lot of people stop there because it's far easier to pour another drink, get another guy, and just say that it was all them. But when you've done this about 2 or 3 times, you realise it's not all them, it's you as well, because no one's perfect. So what are you bringing into the mix? And only then can you start to think about forgiving yourself. This is a very long process, a lifetime really. And you've got to know what you're forgiving yourself for, if you see what I mean. So I love the sound here of the wind in the trees. It's my favourite sound, and as well as the ocean, and they're similar. So I'm going to give you a little poem from my 4th play called A Child Who Said No. And this is actually, as I wrote it and performed it, I realised that's where I was a year ago. As I said the words, it was like I was saying them to the mirror because I was saying them to myself. So this little poem is from me too. Forgive yourself. It's easy to do. Just put your lips together and blow a kiss to your past. It will outlast you otherwise in ways you can't yet imagine. Forgive yourself and live for yourself. Your heart was locked and blocked until you unlocked it and saw through the mirror and saw through the reflections other people cast. The past will outlast you otherwise in ways you can't yet imagine. The mirror is my mocking friend. If you befriend its one-sided eye, it will charm you. Self-harm in a silver square. And as your eyes glass over, looking, you see the child you could have been. That's who you got to get forgiveness from, that child you could have been. Oh, we're getting deep. Have a great day, and if you want to know more about life support and our launch, look out on www.goddess.co.uk.